We were talking before about getting ankle range of motion back. So normal ankle range of motion, if you're driving your knee over your toe, is at least 25 to 30 degrees to do a really easy, effortless squat. So we're gonna talk today about how to get some of that range of motion back so that going downstairs, going upstairs, hiking, any of those kind of things goes better for you. Okay, one of the things that really helps get that ankle dorsiflexion back is if we get the knee rotating a little better. So you're just gonna turn your foot to the inside a little bit, step on it with the other foot, and then with that knee, you're just pumping to the outside. So you might feel a little bit of stretch through the side, through the top of your foot, but you're just trying to get some of that range of motion back without that foot moving underneath of you. You can also help get a little bit more range in your ankle by getting into hands and knees, and instead of turning our foot in, we're gonna turn our foot out. So you're gonna be in this position, let that ankle drop to the inside, so effectively turning your toes out, and you're just gonna do that maybe 10 to 20 times to see if you can loosen up your knee and your ankle in that direction. Okay, so with this exercise, you're putting a band, like a pretty strong heavy band if you can, right at the base of your foot. You're trying to lift that foot onto some kind of a step, so the band is effectively like pulling your foot down. And then all you're gonna do is try to drive that knee forward over your toes without your heel coming up. You can also just do a classic runner stretch. You can do with the knee straight, or you can do with the knee bent. With the knee bent, you'll tend to get a little bit more of a stretch down in this lower portion, which tends to usually be a problem. So leaning into that, you can even pick your other foot up to get a little bit more of an intensity in the stretch. So then another way to get after this dorsiflexion or forward motion of the knee over the foot, put a kettlebell that has a little bit of weight to it on the knee, keep that heel down, and then you're just driving forward as far as you can and back. Maybe you're doing this 15, 20 times. You can even direct your knee different directions. So you can go straight ahead, you can go to the right and to the left a little bit. So it might look like that, to the front, and to the inside. So you can kind of mess with that, but you're trying to get more of that motion knee over toes. For the next one, put a band right behind your knee. You're gonna kneel down, put a little stretch on that band, and then you're gonna try to come up kind of in a down dog position, drive that heel into the ground as you push the band back. So you're gonna let that knee bend, drive it straight. Really trying to push into that calf and into that ankle. So another way to drive into this ankle range of motion is sliding the opposite foot forward. So we're gonna load into this side, slide as far forward as you can, keeping your heel on the ground, and then standing back up. So as soon as you have range of motion, you wanna try to use it. So that's what we're trying to do. Drive down, keeping that heel down, stand back up. For this exercise, see if you can put a pretty heavy kettlebell on your knee, as long as it feels okay. Try to slide your heel back as far as you can to where you feel a little bit of stretch on your ankle, but your heel is still on the ground. And then you're just doing heel raises there. So all the way up, and then trying to drive down so that you really feel that heel touching the ground. So maybe you're doing, again, about 20 or 30 of these, just trying to get further and deeper in. If that is able to loosen up, you can even back up a little further and keep going for another 10 or so you're really using that range of motion. So still driving to that same motion with the ankles closing down, get on a step, and you're just trying to keep your heel flat while you load into your other side. So if you have a higher step, you don't even have to go to the bottom, just dip as far as you can, keeping your ankle down, and rise back up. Keeping that flat, rise back up. This is so that you're balancing and not worried about balance at all, but more so just loading into that ankle. One more, trying to get really deep into this ankle range of motion. Hands on the wall. You're trying to let this ankle bend as far as it can while you reach as far back as you can. And then you're trying to rise all the way up onto your toes. So lower down as far and as deep as you can with that heel staying down, and then rise up. So if your ankle's sticky, if you're having trouble getting into the depth of your squat, if you have stuff going on up chain because you just can't bend that ankle, try some of those things. Maybe it loosens up a little bit, and maybe all of a sudden you have a freedom of motion you haven't had in a while. So give it a go.